Is it possible to eat a low-carb diet if you are a vegetarian? A lot of people think it's hard, but today I'm going to talk to a man who not only successfully did it, he lost 130 pounds doing it. I'm Andreas Senfeld from dietdoctor.com, and I'm here with Jaydeep Bhuta. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
We're at a low-carb conference now. How did you end up here?
That'll take me back probably a year and a half back. As you know, I was approximately 140 kgs, around that figure. And I have tried a lot of diets and, none of them worked. Eventually, I ended up reading 3 books. It was one written by Dr. Westman, Dr. Finney, and Dr. Volek. So the ketogenic books, that is. And I started implementing, following it. Being a vegetarian, obviously, it was very difficult initially. But I started losing a lot of weight. And I started studying. I started going in depth more, trying to understand the subject better. Always been obese, so I think I found my new passion of trying to understand something which has helped me in a more, systematic format. So, I even had this thing in mind that I would probably forward my knowledge to people who need it in India, because we have a lot of vegetarians, and it's not, you can't eat meats, and if you can't eat meats, this diet is difficult.
So were you living in India when you started doing this, or were you living here in the States? Or?
No, I'm very much from Bombay, that is Mumbai now, which is in India. And I've been trying to follow up with you guys from India.
You started doing this diet in India. What kind of, how was that? Was it, you said it's difficult when you're not eating meat. What was it like?
We are trying to restrict carbohydrates, right? And on a vegetarian diet, when you're removing meat, so basically you're removing a lot of protein and you're removing a lot of fat. Obviously, you will not starve. You'll have to, substitute these 2 things with something else. And it usually ends up being a lot of carbohydrate. And I think much like the US, even Indians have this culture of being associated with some form of carbohydrate. For example, we have different sectors in India. A part of India is usually tied up with wheat. Probably the south of India has association with rice, and it's very much in the culture. So less of meat means more of carbohydrate. That's how I look at it. More of carbohydrate means there's an issue. There's a problem.
You might gain weight, and
you
could get
gain weight.
Even diabetes type 2.
And
we have a lot of people, I'm just going to say this briefly, at the Diet Doctor website coming from India, and I get a lot of emails from people from India saying, I want to do this diet, but I'm a vegetarian,
Yes.
What should I do? And then we have some Indian recipes, where you naan bread and so on, that's very popular in a low-carb version. But for people who are watching and they come from that, they have a vegetarian direction in their diet and they want to keep it. Could you help them, sort of? Where do you start?
Yeah, so you know what? This was really interesting because, being a vegetarian, I'm not left with a lot of options. I had to actually put up a sensor, a continuous blood glucose monitoring sensor on my, to test my glucose levels. And the first few months I was busy eating stuff and trying to see whether the glucose level is going up or not. Is because the last thing I want is having spikes of my glucose levels.
So you did the research. Now,
yes.
you can tell us how to do it. Perfect.
Yeah. So I think most of my times I've been as you say, n is equal to 1. I've been the experimental subject for myself. I've been testing and trying different food groups and seeing what works. And at the same time, because I'm not saying everybody in India are vegetarian, but there is a big chunk of people who are vegetarians. And what I've realized is that on a ketogenic diet, there is a repetition of food. There is no variety. Like how you have steak, chicken, mutton, fish, etc. There are very little options. So then, to take care of this issue, you need to make recipes. You need to get down in the kitchen and start cooking.
What did you start cooking?
I'm a horrible cook. My mother is a very good cook, and yeah, I've been trying different recipes and trying to replicate the Indian eating habits by substituting the breads or the rotis or the naans with low carb rotis and naans. Actually, not even low carb, almost zero carb rotis and naans. By trying again and again, I kind of got it. Like, how to substitute and how to make nachos on this diet and how to make a pizza base on this diet and how to make roti on this diet. So trying to get the same things of Indian diet modified. I could probably decarb it, removing the carbs out of it and making it again.
So what's the main trick? So you take away flour, I guess, for
Yes,
example,
absolutely
and
no
you
flour.
replace it with what?
With selenium husk, with we have a few names in India, and removing almond flour, maybe cauliflower flour, binding agent being cheese, and yeah, I think that's it.
So what you've been doing is eating the same thing, but with a different
Yeah,
ingredient instead of
yes, so slightly here and
flour
there.
or
Yeah,
rice. Yeah.
slightly here and there.
So what do you have instead of rice?
Cauliflower rice is a great option, and it just tastes like rice. And if we had some cauliflower rice last night in last night's evening reception, and it tastes amazing. So I think for people who are who love rice, probably can switch to cauliflower rice.
Is it easy to find in India?
No, I think what you guys are really lucky back in Sweden and in the US that you have a lot of food available. You have things which are ketogenic. People know what ketogenic is. In India, things are a little different. We don't get low carb or ketogenic stuff in the market.
So cauliflower, for example, is hard to find for some
Cauliflower you
people?
can find, but you will not be finding ready products made like
So you
cauliflower.
have to grate it yourself.
Yes, and you have to try it.
Well, maybe I'm thinking because in India you have, equally severe problems with type 2 diabetes, maybe sometimes even worse than in the rest of the Western world.
What I've heard is that India is the diabetic capital of the world.
Yeah.
And somebody corrected me, that's Mexico. Now I still feel India
Well,
is.
it's at least up there, right? So,
Yeah.
So this ketogenic diet or low carb diet, it should have potential to help a ton of people.
Honestly, I think this is the worldwide scenario that if so many people have diabetes, right? And I don't get one thing, how easy it is to understand or how difficult is it to understand that diabetes is because of your body not being able to, it's insulin resistance, right? Type 2 diabetes. It all revolves around insulin and sugar. So if you do not have sugar, the problem is solved. And sugar is something which breaks down from a carbohydrate. And I've met a lot of diabetologists in India. For some strange reason, they are still attached to this old pyramid of having carbohydrates. I know you need carbohydrates. And what they fail to understand is they divide the carbohydrates into good carbohydrates and bad carbohydrates. But even the good carbohydrates, supposedly, like oats and muesli, it eventually is going to break down into sugar.
It's not so good.
Yeah. And
so it's bad carbs and less bad carbs.
Yeah, but I personally feel they both are bad. It's because eventually sugar is going to be released in the bloodstream.
Sure.
And
of course,
that's the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think most people who listen to this, they know a lot about that already. But of course, it's always important to reach more people. I'm thinking about your story. You say you lost a tremendous amount of weight. How was this for you? This experience.
So it all started with me being more than around 140 kgs, and I was into reading. I was very passionate about reading books on nutrition since last 1 decade. The problem was implementation. I always thought that this particular diet is going to be difficult, or it's going to take a lot of effort and hard work. And as Dr. Westman says that either you go it the cold turkey way or the warm chicken way, right? So I actually went the warm chicken way. Like I gradually went on a ketogenic diet because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how difficult or easy it would be. And apart from the first few months, I think now I can comment it's a very easy lifestyle. And it's not difficult to lose weight, even in spite of being a vegetarian. You just need to understand the science. There are a lot of people in India who would give weird and stupid advices like add lemon and honey, you lose weight. Have hot water and you should lose weight. So what I've realized is that the people, I think everywhere, they're all very confused. And they kind
There's
of
so much conflicting
yes,
advice. Huh?
yes, and they have this disbelief, and they all even before starting, they already believe that they can't lose weight or they can't lose fat.
But you lost like, what did you say, 130 pounds? What, that is maybe 60
It
kilos?
is approx. I lost somewhere between 55 and 60 kgs.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do not believe, the weight on the scale, weighing scale. I'm a believer of DEXA scan. I'm a believer of, irrespective of how much weight you weigh on the scale or you are on the scale, that's not important. What is important is your body composition.
Right.
So if
But the body composition has to change from
Yes,
that, right?
yes.
So how did people react around you?
So when I was starting, a lot of them told me that I'm stupid to eat fats, and obviously, I've heard that before. And oh, you can't have fats, and oh, even my doctor telling me, oh, that's a wrong thing to do, and your cholesterol levels will shoot, and you'll have a heart attack. And I was already having a few medical conditions like prolactin levels being high and testosterone levels being low, uric acid levels being very high, vitamin D being low, B12 being low, having blood pressure. So all of it, right? And on top of that, I decided to eat butter.
Yeah.
So it kind of messed up a lot of people around me. But
They thought,
eventually,
no, Jaydeep's gonna die.
that happened. That really happened. They go, oh, you can't do that. You're having butter and cheese. You can't do that. But yeah, after I lost weight and after people saw the change, so I think what speaks the most is the change, right? If somebody watches me lose weight. And
did anybody ask you, what did you do? Can you teach me to do the same thing?
Yes, in fact, I studied nutrition for 2 years. That was for me, for my passion, for my knowledge. But eventually, it ended up forwarding this knowledge to people. So I started practicing. As a nutritionist, I started practicing.
What are some of the things that you feel you have learned during this journey that you wish you had known earlier to make it more simple for you to make this sort of transition?
I believe that, you guys are trying your level best to forward information and knowledge through seminars like Low Carb 2016 and with your website and Stephen Fenney, Eric Westman and Jeff Volek being there doing the good work. I think it's not reaching a lot of people. Us as having a common goal of trying to make people understand the latest science. It's our duty and responsibility to forward this to as many as we can. And we don't have, nobody knows about ketogenic diets in India. It's right now, it's booming. But even the ones who are following a ketogenic diet, they are not following a ketogenic diet. It's nowhere close to ketogenic diet.
I think they are, but so what are they doing wrong? What's the the common mistakes?
The worst thing I've seen is you never go on Google and you never follow a sample diet. It's because diet is not something which is one for everyone. The macronutrient quantities and the micronutrient quantities would be different for you and me. And in Google, I've seen people adding peanut butter. And I've seen people adding milk for recipes. That's not how you can do. Probably you lose weight initially, some of it. That's
all the way. It's not.
That's remotely close to ketosis. Yeah, and so actually that's one of the reasons that I believe that even the sugar alcohols and even the low carb substitutes, even they take my ketone levels off. So I've realized that you have to be, if you want to lose a lot of weight, if you want to make it your lifestyle, you need to understand the science. You need to go to a professional. Because there are a lot of people who blame, oh, it didn't work for me. But was he on ketosis?
But maybe you didn't do it completely right. So did you check your ketone levels somehow?
Yes.
How do you do it?
So I'm a distributor of Ketonex in India.
The breath analyzer?
Yes, yeah. Mr. Lundell's company.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I check my blood ketone levels. And I check my blood ketone levels close to 10 times a day. And,
oh my God.
I have my skin is gone, both my hands, and there are pricks all over.
Why do you do it 10 times a day?
Initially I wanted.
That sounds like
Yes.
what do you say?
It's obsession.
More than you would need, I guess.
Yeah. So I was not knowing initially when I started what to expect. So initially, I thought I should do it every 1 hour of checking my ketone levels, especially being a vegetarian, because a lot of these books do not have a lot of information about vegetarians, right? So I thought I should do that, and actually that even worked. It helped me. Checking my levels, 5-10 times a day, it really helped me.
It's really expensive though with
Yes.
blood ketone testing.
It was really expensive.
It's not for people of limited sort of monetary means. But the breathe thing, at least you only buy it once and then you can use it forever, right?
Yes. Mr. London's done a great job for that meter, and it's really helped me. Like, I know what to eat and what's reducing my ketone levels. I know then, okay, I should not be eating this or should not be giving this to my clients. So that's how it worked.
So what are examples? Some example of things that you found reduce your ketone levels?
Yes, in fact,
anything that was surprising to you?
Yes, in fact, sugar-free Sprites and these 7-Ups, the zero carb ones. Occasionally, I do have one, and it takes my levels off.
That's interesting.
I can see my ketone levels go down.
So the sweetener could, this has been discussed back and forth, but it could potentially, in some people, sometimes could release insulin.
Yeah, even caffeine, even black coffee, it's a CNS, central nervous system stimulant. So I have one probably before my workout. I do weight train, but even that kind of spikes my insulin level. And these sugar-free sweeteners and colas, I guess once in a while you can treat yourself with them, but it will reduce your ketone levels. So my ketone levels have been close to, my highest has been close to 5.
That's very high, huh?
Yeah, and I try to maintain my ketone levels, by approximately around 2. I'm fine.
Do you do intermittent fasting?
Yes, I do.
In what way?
So I try and fast probably every day for 15 hours. So my dinner is early and my lunch is late. So it kind of ends up having a 15-hour gap.
And you save time and money for breakfast, huh?
So
you save money so you can buy the ketone strip.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do, yeah.
All right. So do you have any final sort of nuggets of wisdom for people listening
Yes.
in a similar situation as you?
Yes. So I would like to tell everyone that, first of all, stop checking the weight every day. It's not about how much you weigh on the scale. And even on ketosis, if you're going on this diet, do not expect too much. Do not expect you lose 20 kgs or 40 pounds a month. You shall definitely lose a lot of weight, but give it some time. And it's more of a lifestyle. If you start cheating again and again and again, you will not achieve what you want to achieve. Secondly, I would say that everybody should increase some sort of physical activity twice or thrice a week. Especially, I'm a believer of weight training, and I believe that everybody should weight train and do some moderate amount of cardio, any cardiovascular activity. So it's the health what you want to improve. It's not the weight, only the weight which you want to decrease. And your health is your cellular health. I believe that your body is made of cells, everything, and everything begins at a cellular damage. Any metabolic syndromes or diseases, they don't happen overnight. You've sown the seeds a few years back, and you need to make sure that you give your body correct nutrition. Your vitamins, minerals, your proteins, your fats, and gradually give it some time. Let your body create an environment wherein, once created, fat loss is a byproduct.
So it's a byproduct of getting healthy.
It's a byproduct of creating an environment, of a good environment of everything being there. And carbohydrates don't provide you anything. The vitamins from carbohydrates or minerals from carbohydrates can be even got from meats or vegetables. So you don't need your wheat, or you don't need your corn flour, or you need your grains. And I believe that the government has gone wrong by promoting things like corn flakes and wheat flakes for breakfast. Your body does not need any of it. From where we come, as animals or hunters and gatherers, we never used to have meals every 2 hours, were we? No. We never used to have every 1 hour small meal or carbohydrates or wheat or oats. No, we didn't have them.
So it's not necessary.
Yeah,
You can live without it.
we were surviving on meats, on dairy, on probably eggs and berries, and we did not have sunflower oil or groundnut oil that time. And I think if you use some logic, we did not even have any CVDs or diabetes back then, and we were fit. We didn't have bigger waist circumferences, etc. So I think it's your duty to think that what, we have definitely done something wrong in the last 2 decades in our dietary eating habits, which you need to get back.
And you succeeded fantastically, and I hope you can inspire a lot of other people living in India, or vegetarians anywhere, or other people who eat meat, to have as much success as you. So thank you so much for the interview.
It was amazing meeting you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.